Cooking with Grace. Yeah.
When you're jealous that I keep cooking with your ninja jingle and you're not getting a jingle, so you have to make your own.
Cook some stuff. It's gonna be nice. I'm thinking pork belly with mashed potatoes, maybe some corn or something. You know, you need your vegetables. Yeah, probably something like that. So first things first, start off with a clean kitchen. Okay, so I need to get a few things out of my way and maybe wipe off the counter real quick. All right, so here's my beautiful pork belly from BJ's. It's a nice big old slab. I normally work with stuff that's already cut up, so I'm actually gonna have to cut this for you. We're gonna see how that's gonna go. I think the first thing that I need to take care of though is definitely the smell in here. I don't know I have roommates and I don't know. There's a weird smell going on, so I'm gonna do something about that.
Island mahogany, saving the day when your roommates smell like poop.
Got a nice island coconut mahogany candle. My favorite. Light that baby up. Get rid of this funky little smell. We'll get a nice island mahogany coconutty smell going. Now that we got a clean kitchen, you know, like I can eat off this counter. We got a nice smell going. We can open up our pork belly. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never done this. I've watched my sister make pork belly, but she, damn. Yeah, this is already way harder than I was ready for. Okay. Yeah, she started with pork belly that was already cut up, so that's really what the big old difference is gonna be. Damn, this is just a big ass slab of meat. Like, look at that baby. Damn, I feel like gross right now. What do you think, serrated knife? I really don't know. I don't know, I feel like I want to like, you know how you're like, with some meat you're supposed to like tenderize it first or something? Should I do that? Is that like a pork belly thing? Alright. Well, now that that's out of my system, maybe I should cut this. Okay. What's happening?
Look at the look he's giving her.
I went non-serrated knife because, like, I don't know. Because we just sharpen these babies with our whetstone. Yuck. But it's the fattiness of the pork belly that makes it so freaking good. Cute. Just cut them in cute little rectangles. God, just look at that. Look at how all the... Oh, God, I used to know the words for this. But, you know, the muscles and the fat going throughout it. I really feel like I'm chefing it up, though, right now. Like,
Big dog up all night cooking.
I mean, normally Brett cooks everything. So, we're gonna see how this goes. I really am, like, hoping that I do okay, because he's gonna judge me more than anybody. I'm really good about this right now. Alright, now that we got all that pork belly cut up into nice little rectangles, this beautiful stack of meat right here, just take some amount of sugar. I'm not gonna measure it.
Who are you talking to?
Myself.
Who's there? Who's there? Is there somebody in there?
Not, probably like 10.
I heard something about a stack of meat.
10 to 20 people, possibly might one day see this. I'm just teaching them how to make pork belly. So yeah, I put like, I don't know, a cup and a half of sugar. Some amount of salt. And just a little bit of pepper, because I don't really like pepper that much, but the recipe calls for it, so is going in there. Also in some amount. You just eyeball these things based on your preferences. So yeah, mix that up. And then you wanna dip each one of your sides in the sugar, salt, and pepper mixture. And then I'm taking that, putting them in a pressure cooker, or my sister uses an Instapot, which is just an easier pressure cooker. I'm using like a traditional pressure cooker, which is going to make things interesting. I really don't know how this is gonna turn out, but fingers crossed. You take a cup of chicken broth, right on in your Instapot or pressure cooker. We actually might need a little bit more than a cup because I feel like my pressure cooker is bigger than my sister's Instapot, and we want them a little bit, at least partially submerged in the liquid. Okay, so now that our pork belly is in the pressure cooker, you know, cooking, mashed potatoes have to occur. So we gonna just heal up these taters. Yes.
So did you put an hour in or an hour 22?
An hour and 20 minutes. 80 minutes in the pressure cooker.
This guy had put his in for 50 minutes and he took it out, and his was a solid chunk. Yours are cut up so they have more surface area. They'll cook quicker. I don't think you're gonna need a full.
His was a pork roast. Mine is pork belly. It's different.
I thought these exact same things are.
Different things. A pot of water. Just like fill it with water so I can have somewhere to put these babies. Put your patatas into a bucket of cold water to keep them nice and fresh for your mashed potato. Peeling and cutting process takes, it takes time. So in that time, if they are not in water, then they will turn brown and be ugly and not as delicious as they could have been. They will still be delicious, but not as delicious, probably. Spencer dropped some potatoes because, what did you just say?
Potatoes tend to get slippery when wet. And they slipped.
They just slipped right out of his hands.
It's not my fault. They got wet. You put them in the water already.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I get my potatoes nice and
Wet?
wet. It's important to stay hydrated.
Potatoes in the water, they get slippery when wet.
I'm so hydrated right now. Ew. Okay, excuse me, but also in the comments, if you could rate that burp from a scale from 1 to 10, I would appreciate it, because we do this thing at my house. It kind of seems like Spencer's never cut potatoes before, mashed potatoes before, because
Come on.
Is that how big you're slicing them? That's how big?
Grace put the whole potatoes
Literally
in.
like
She
a
wasn't even
fourth
gonna
of
put-
that. Like,
You need a fourth
go like,
of that?
psh,
You
and
said
then,
half 3 times. You said cut
Bro,
a potato
I said
in half, and then
I
that
said
half
this
in half,
big.
and then
Does
those
that
halves
look
in
that
half.
big to you? You're doing really good though. Thank you so much. I value you and your face. Oh, that was, you know what? That was unnecessary right there.
I got potato water all over me.
Yeah, I have it all over me too.
Whose fault is that?
It's your fault. Getting all sassy, throwing the potatoes in the potato water.
It's dropping the potatoes.
See, there you go. With ease, you ease them in there. So, we got our potatoes peeled. We're getting them cut up by Spencer. Grace is feeling a little bit tipsy. We're at a good point. I figured I'd show you guys, look at that, action shot, action shot, action shot. So proud. You may notice your pressure cooker is shooting out this steam. That's okay, that's what it's supposed to do. I mean, if it's freaking you out, like the amount it's coming or something, like you can just turn down the heat. I turned down the heat and I'm hoping that it's not gonna affect the cooking process. I guess we'll see. I don't know. We got 30 minutes left. Our potatoes are coming along nicely. How was your day today, Spencer?
Hi again, it's your friendly neighborhood Julie. If you're easily triggered by religious stuff, you don't like religion, whatevs, it's not your deal, I totally get it. Timestamp somewhere on here of where you should be going right now. Okay, bye.
Pretty good. Why'd you go to church?
My friend Brian is, I don't know, like, refinding God or something, and I'm trying to help him through the process. I don't know. I mean, I'm not much of a churchgoer on the reg, but for a friend, absolutely. Honestly, I was like super inspired by the message, to be honest with you. It was just talking about how we need to take like one small step towards bettering our lives and just letting go of like what holds you back, like busyness and regret, because God died on the cross. Well, Jesus died on the cross for all of our sins, so we have no reason to regret. We just should forget and forgive ourselves so that we can move on and become better people in the long run. So like,
Great message.
yeah. And then it was also about how God doesn't get excited for like ends. Like they said at church, he was like, we get excited when we finish. And I was cracking up. Like nobody else was laughing. Like, I mean, they all got the joke, but like they controlled themselves, and I could not physically
What did he say
control
again?
myself. He was like, we get excited when we finish.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I know, right? But he means like just like a difficult task, like when you finish school or when you finish like
Did you
this
burst
hard
out
thing
loud
that you were
laughing?
trying to do. Huh?
You burst out loud laughing.
Yes, I did. It was really embarrassing. But yeah, but God gets excited when we start. So I was like, wow, you know what? That's so deep. Like, God is excited when we're taking the small steps to better our lives every day. Like, I don't know, like deciding to go to therapy or something, or like deciding to get a new habit that betters your routine, or deciding to start school, or deciding to start that new job. Like, God gets excited at that point when you're struggling and in the first little steps, like rather than getting exciting at the end like everybody else does. I know, like in general, like without needing to believe in God, that's a good message. Like, just take one small step towards, you know, bettering yourself, and don't get too excited for the end. Be excited for the beginning of you, like, getting somewhere great. Fuck you, Spencer.
Great
Fucking
message,
judgmental
Grace.
ass. So we have 30 minutes until the pork belly's done, and the potatoes need to cook for a while too. So we're gonna do some homework because we're such studious students, right? Productivity, maximize. Now, of course, in the midst of all this cooking, we can't forget Kissy needs some dinner too, huh? Have a cup of kibble or whatever. Oh, I don't know if you can tell right now, but it is smoky in here. Luckily, I don't have a fire alarm, so that's not going off. But I guess I let the potatoes boil over because I wasn't paying attention. And they got onto the stove, which led to, you know, smoke everywhere. But, you know, you live and you learn. It's not a big deal. Like, whatever. You know, the food's gonna be good, so I was doing homework, okay? I'm a student. Alright, we opened up some windows and some doors, and now there's not too much smoke. I'm testing if the potatoes are ready to be mashed. So, like, you poke the fork in there, and if you're not picking up any potatoes, then they're probably ready. So that's good. The timer went off for what's in here. But there's some, I don't know, spittle running down. I'm a little bit concerned to open it up. But hey, let's turn off all the heat. We gotta strain them taters. Just gonna get the strainer real quick. So, you know, the potatoes are gonna go great, but Grace just broke some glass. Grace burned the pork belly. But Grace is gonna make it work. It's gonna be okay. So, I figured out today that the time that an Instapot takes on high is much different than the time that a pressure cooker takes on high. Yeah, they're not supposed to look like that. That is expensive meat. It's tender, it's beautiful. I spent $18 on that meat right there. That is toasted. And I'm gonna make really good mashed potatoes to try to compensate for the fact that that's kind of gross. I mean, the parts that aren't burnt like that are really, really good. So I'm just gonna enjoy my, this much meat. You know what? I'm gonna learn from this mistake. Now I know that a pressure cooker on high takes half the time that an Instapot would take. Okay, so I put it in for 80 minutes. It should have been in there for like 40, maybe 50 minutes. Yeah, so learning. Okay, we are headed out back in the night to get rosemary for our mashed potatoes. Luckily, I've got fresh rosemary always at my disposal. No, that's not the word. That's okay. All right, so we got a nice little handful of rosemary.
Holy crap.
That way we get rosemary butter in this bitch. Just keep the video rolling. Assistant, if you could remove as much of this black stuff as you could, that'd be ideal. With the rosemary butter for the mashed potatoes, you just take like a stick of butter or a couple scoops of butter, melt it with the rosemary so that the butter takes in all the flavor of the rosemary. So, we looked in the fridge, and for mashed potatoes you need heavy cream, or at least milk, and we don't have that, so we're going to ShopRite. We're not letting our burnt pork belly keep us down. We're gonna eat around that burnt, right?
Yep.
And we're gonna cover that burnt with mashed potatoes. Take this right here.
Right? What do you have to say?
I forgot my wallet.
Yeah, she forgot her wallet, so she's making me pay for her groceries.
Okay, but I'm gonna Venmo it. I'm Venmoing immediately. And we're getting heavy cream. I can get it. And I got it. We did. We need butter too?
You tell me. Do you want milk?
Oh yeah, we need that too. I need the brick of butter. Mashed potatoes are gonna be so good. Using copious amounts of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. Mash the potatoes with the rosemary butter, and they're really good. I mean, parts of it are burnt pretty badly, but the center is like really good, especially with the mash. And this way, everybody wins. It's gonna be good, dude. Oh, yeah.
Just like and subscribe. Other videos will be linked down below. Please give a thumbs up and leave a comment.